All right, on the show, let's look at what Samsung is doing at the moment. Obviously, they've just released from embargo the ability to go into detail about the Note 20 Ultra 5G and the wider Note 20 range. I thought we'd have a chat with Geoff Quattromani, tech expert, friend of the show. How are you today, Geoff?
I'm really well, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
No, always good to have a chat. Are you on the positive side for Note 20 or on the like it but not quite liking everything about it side?
I think I'm a little bit fortunate. I'm actually testing both sizes. So you've got the Note 20 and the Note 20 Ultra, and they are remarkable phones in their own right. And the reason I say that is because most people who are buying the Note 20 or are considering the Note 20 are potentially coming from a device that's at least 3 years old, and this would be a significant upgrade for them. In our world, where we test phones daily, and we've been testing the latest Galaxy S20 or Huawei devices or new iPhones, we are spoiled in that way, and we do look at devices like this and we see incremental changes rather than that dramatic step change that a consumer would see. So that sometimes is why we are a little bit less impressed than others would be, I think.
A few of our members of the media aren't as impressed as we might have thought. A couple of things our good friends in the media have been talking about is the battery life, especially the 5G version, and the camera. Let's talk about battery life at up to 120 hertz. For those that don't know, 120 hertz means 120 images per second loaded to the screen. That is a lot of illumination to handle.
It is. So the screen on the Note 20 Ultra, we're talking about 6.9-inch display, which already is a very large screen. Yes, it's doing a very high refresh rate as well. With the 5G backed into it, also, there is a lot that's consuming the battery. And obviously, the things that we do on these phones is high energy as well. So the productivity task that you can do on this device is like you could do on a laptop. So, for me, I'm getting to the end of the day. I'm getting to the end of the day with some battery life left. But you've got to remember, I'm at home almost all of the time at the moment. So if just through home use, I'm making it through the end of the day with around 20% battery life, that would suggest that when I do get back to being productive out and about, traveling on the train, going to the office and things like that, when it's hopping off Wi-Fi, jumping on 4G, 5G networks, I actually think we will make it to the end of the day, but only just. And as a result, people will need to start thinking about how they manage their charge, whether it's using a desktop charger when they're at work or keeping a power bank in the bag. It is surprising that a device like this is only just making it to the end of the day and not something that you would take away for the weekend and leave the charger at home.
You can't have everything, can you? I mean, you can't have gigabit cellular download speeds. You can't have a 6.9-inch screen at 120 hertz refresh rate. You can't have an S Pen that will be writing on the screen at remarkable efficiency, and then still have the ability for the phone to go for 2 days. I mean, at the moment, we're just not at that point. Technically, maybe if we want to spend $4,000, but not at $2,000.
Yeah, look, and that's one of the things to remember is, what we do on these phones today is not what we did on them 3 years ago. I mean, we always refer back to the old Nokias that you would charge once a week, and that was amazing and remarkable, but we sent texts on those and the screen looked terrible. So, we can't compare apples with apples in that case. If you look at devices today, most of them will get through a day of battery life, and that's normal. But when a device has a screen this large and we're doing such high energy things, it's not surprising to me that I do get to the end of the day and the battery is worn down. I think what brands are doing to compensate for that is allowing things like fast charging, where if I plug in for 10 minutes, I'm almost going to get 50% battery life back. So those types of efficiencies is what will make this whole burden on battery life a little bit more easy to deal with.
Absolutely. The camera at the back, it juts out now. I mean, you can almost see it from where you are, right? Are you a fan, or does that kill the experience for you?
Look, I really don't like the big camera bulge on the back. I do actually like the fact that when I hold it, I can rest my finger underneath it, and it almost becomes something that you can use as leverage when you are holding the device. But Samsung does not include a case in the box. In the past, they used to include a clear silicon case, and that would at least make you feel a bit more comfortable in leveling out that bump on the back. I would really recommend that anybody who buys one of these devices also buys the case at the same time, because it will always rest on the camera otherwise. Whenever you put your phone down, that's the thing that's really going to be rubbed on the table and things like that. You don't want to damage those lenses because, when we think about these devices, the cameras are really one of the big shining points.
Yeah, the case manufacturers will be loving the fact that there's no included case in the box with this one. But look, at the end of the day, that's the commercial decision they've made. Camera quality, I haven't actually had too much of an opportunity to go out and take a lot of photos with this thing. How have you found it?
Look, I found it really good. I mean, obviously, you've got those 3 cameras on the back. There is laser autofocus. If you haven't seen a phone that has cameras like these before, you'll be blown away. Now, it does offer optical zoom as well as a 50 times super digital zoom, basically. And while that's nice to have, and it does get you very close to the subjects ahead of you, you obviously do lose image quality when you do that. So I could take a photo of a duck in the pond, standing quite far away from it, and the image doesn't look too bad, depending on how far you're zooming. Now, the way it handles light during the day is exceptional. I know that I've taken photos of a car, for example, with the sun in the background, which normally you would never do, and I still get a really good exposure of both the car as well as the backdrop. In saying that, in the evening, I'm noticing that nighttime shots tend to get quite blurry because it is trying to do a lot of intelligence to bring that light out at nighttime. But at the same time, you do get this blur effect if you've got any sort of movement happening during that nighttime scene. So you got to play with the settings, play with all the different features that are there. There's a pro mode that you can use to really adjust all the aspects of the camera. But it is something remarkable. And, as we're seeing on screen, you've got this 8K video recording as well, which, most people don't even have an 8K TV yet. But if you did, you could start to shoot video on your smartphone in 8K, which is crazy to even say.
Those first steps in 8K, I'll tell you what, it's something to keep for a very, very long time. All right, it is the Samsung Galaxy Note20 5G model, and 4G model is out as well as of the end of this week. As of today, you can still pre-order, I believe. It's going to be released in the stores at any second, so hurry up with that if you want those free buds that come with that pre-order offer. A good phone, as much a PC that sits in your pocket, a large pocket, as it is a phone. But look, lots of cool features there. Geoff Quattromani, thank you for taking us through some of your favorites. We'll speak to you again next week.
Thank you, Charlie.